She has become obsessed with parasites. The names are like a skipping rhyme. Nematodes, trematodes, cestoda, protozoa. Parasites you can pick up from cat feces or stagnant water or infected food. Bilharzia, toxoplasmosis, Roby's disease. Flukes and snails and worms and funguses that can get right into your brain and change your behavior. They lay invisible eggs. They get inside you, colonize you, get their hooks into you. Like love, she thinks. So they can feed on you. Little bits, little bits. You barely notice. Like her husband, she thinks. You can take deworming pills and antifungals. Bigger parasites require an axe. Inheritance by Lily Hearn. Today's my 13th birthday. The day Gran promised that she'd show me what she keeps in her basement. A room I've always been forbidden to enter. Mom makes me do my homework first. Another boring essay on the 19th century apocalypse. Yawn. Ancient history. Who cares? It's not as if there are any zombies left, right? I type it up and race over to Gran's. Without a word, she leads me down to the reinforced basement and unlocks it. Level, Gran says, as an eyeless, moldy figure lurches out of the gloom. Meet your great-great-great-granddad. One day he'll be yours.
I got sent a list of 136 creepy Wikipedia articles.
Whoops.
One of which was about, one of which is about this. It started during geography lesson. One of the girls started laughing. Another joined, and another, and another. The sound soon switched from the bubbly giggling to frantic bleating, jaws locked and eyes frozen in terror. The laughter spread to yet more girls while the teachers looked on, bewildered. Some of the students started trying to scream behind their howls and hysterics. After 45 minutes, one of the teachers started with a choking guffaw. The headmistress, completely confounded, dialed the emergency hotline. After 8 long rings, someone picked up, their whoops and cackles sounding tinny across the phone line.
Okay, so I'm Joan de la Haye, and I've written a couple books. Okay, so the inspiration for this one came from taking up a newspaper story that I found on Twitter about a woman who had a spider in her ear for months and didn't even know it was there. That's called Scratch. The itch turned to fire as I scratched. The fire spread along my jaw, making my teeth ache. I edged closer to the mirror, peering sidelong and tried to see what was wrong with my way to swirl in the air. Clear liquid trickled out and ran down my neck. Then I saw it. I wanted to scream. My throat constricted, strangling any sound. Its long, thin blade emerged as I struggled to breathe. 3 tiny eyes glared at me. Glared my reflection. I watched it crawl out of my ear and cross my paralyzed face. I hit the floor and watched it escape.
Goeienaand. Ek is gevra van iets in Afrikaans te lees en ek is geneig om stories te skryf. My boek kom volgende jaar uit, sy naam is Laagskool, word uitgegee deur Griffel Uitgewers. En hierdie is 'n uitreikseltjie daaruit. Die storie se naam is Die Yskas. Die yskas. Die yskas staan verwese. Die yskas gons en brom onheilspellend. Die yskas is leeg. Buite natuurlik, die 2 breed hande, jou hande, wat met blou naels armloos deur die sterkende koue na 'n roomysbak gryp met oorloop van bloederige maalvleis tot vet. Jou vlees, jou vet. Die yskas is leeg. Buite natuurlik vir 'n kop. Jou kop. Wat met 'n verkleinde glimlach en 'n albastre oë na 'n bottel gestolde bloed staar aan die hart van 'n kind druk. Jou bloed, jou kind. Jou yskas staan verwese. Jou yskas gons en brom en ontstelling. Jou yskas is leeg. So leeg dat jy bang maak. So leeg dat jy terugstaan. So leeg dat jy omdraai en wegloop, terwyl die deur agter jou oopswaai en die deur voor jou toe.
Hi guys, my name is Karine Milbrecht, although I do write, it's kind of mostly guerrilla fashion in a kind of like unmarketable way. The story I'm reading for you is called The Troll Apocalypse, and I can assure you that only authentic troll comments were used in the making of this story. Right. Forget the zombie apocalypse. The troll apocalypse has come and gone, and guess what? No one noticed. They were all too busy on Facebook or Twitter. The first wave of the invasion hit me when I opened a link on some story on blabbermouth.net. It sounded like this. Dumbass! Retard! Slut! Douchebag! My temperature shot up and my breathing became faster. I began to type, attention all! Then I looked down. Warts were forming on my hands. They leaked green pus onto the keyboard. It was too late, I was infected. My inner troll had taken over.
As I said, there's a reason why Kareem comes back.
The background of this story, it was originally supposed to appear in a magazine called Necrotic Tissue, an American magazine. Unfortunately, about a week before going to print, the magazine went under. I have been assured it had nothing to do with my story. But here it is. The story is called Road. A thin vibration traversed its mighty body, its giant web. Across millions of miles of highways and extensions, avenues and drives, boulevards, pikes, drags and thoroughfares, a humming grew. It spoke too low for those atop it to hear, the noise of life coalescing. Scree and gravel shook loose as it shifted, the atmosphere filled with a static hiss. Across its network, it separated from the earth. Its population collapsed, their hands to their ears. Alive now, it gripped the world. Its voice crossed the spaces between planets, announcing its presence. With a shrug that collapsed cities, it awoke.
I'm first going to read one of the stories by Louis Greenberg, who can't be with us today. He's up in Joburg. Eschatological, Paul thought. That's a long word. If I knew I only had 100 words before I died, I'd make eschatological one of them. He flipped back to the question. Consider the eschatological implications of Neville's middle opus as it relates to contemporary urban anxieties. 50 marks. He put his pen to the answer book. His hand was cramping already. He should have started with this fucker instead of leaving it to last. Tonight, I am going to have a long, cold beer. The toxic cloud crackled as it approached the exam hall. It obliterated the lecturers first. I now have a short one of my own. I'm only a few feet into the labyrinth, 2 turns, no intersections, when I hit a dead end. I turn and find the entrance blocked. Something in the air tells me I'm not near the edge anymore, but deep in, near the center. My cries echo through the maze impossibly loud. In a panic, I slam my shoulder into the wall. It gives way just a little and slides forward, just as the wall behind me pushes in. I shove another wall, and its opposite moves. I keep on pushing, harder and harder for minutes, then hours. It's pointless. I'm surrounded by cells, and each of them contains me.
Okay, so this story is inspired by Martha Stewart. How to cook the perfect human being. Step 1, trap it. Bear tracks are great. Just be careful to remove all the rust chips from the wound. Never use a shotgun unless you enjoy picking buckshot out your teeth. Step 2, Remove skin and tie the arms and legs with string for first-class presentation. Step 3. Season with salt, pepper, and fresh garlic for sweetness. Drizzle livery with olive oil. Step 4. Roast at 200 degrees for 2 hours. Keep basting to ensure the meat cooks evenly. There's no need to bother with vegetables. Simply garnish with parsley and serve.
The car starts first time. Not bad considering the holes shot in it by bandits. The four-wheel drive is going to come in handy to get out of here. Piles of bodies are hell to navigate. Through the shattered windscreen, I can see no sign of the crazy gunman. Reassured, I punch the four-wheel drive select switch, shift it into low range, and gun the engine. Gritting my teeth, I try not to look at the bodies I'm about to drive over, and pop the clutch. A distinct click announces I have triggered a bomb in the car, and that's kind of it for story. And then if you know anything about me, I'm obsessed with water and dreams. No, you don't have to know that. Sad fact, you know, when you go on QI. Right. This one's called salt water. 17 days sleepless. Man is a dream animal, and away from his natural sea, he collapses inward. I am dehydrated by memory. I killed a merman on a urine-colored beach. A necessity, I tell myself. My talking guilt keeps me wakeful. 23 days. He was already half dead, strangled by my neck. What was I to do? My heart pumps clotted blood through withered veins. Talk, talk, talk. 32 days. I am precise. I cut my beached heart free. Cradling it in one palm, I walk down into the shallows, my trousers rolled. My dry heart swells, drifts, and swims away.
There's no seeing now in empty places. Clouds plucked out the moon. Only stray stars like cold eyes and shadowed faces watch what uncertain hands have hewn. The angel is alone by night, trapped by being stone, and looks the same by morning light when all her wraiths have flown. There are wraiths that wait for dusk, to gnaw upon her pitted skin, freed by night from rotting husk, held by their sin. For this they blame the angel, for none else at night stands near. From bones are made the cudgel that wear her year by year. That's the first one. No need to be afraid. It is, I'm sure, long dead. That's how I remember it, what the stranger said. It's quite rotten, you will observe. Note the glassy eye. Not so much for that pointless book. It can't eternal lie. He prodded slimy scales with a haughty boot, then frowned and shook his head when he refused to follow suit. What's gotten into you, he said with some alarm, noting first my dagger, then the ink upon my arm. My lord is still dreaming, despite the stranger's lie. For he but roads between the stars and can never die.
A thin line ties fact to fiction. Martha gulped the dry wine. Will you? Hello. Only tree and pasture. Hit. Go aside. His voice cracked. My friend, 36 years gone. You? Home soon. Burned from the oven, turned her stomach as she retched, recovered and touched herself, feeling him. She stood by the man in the coffin. She sifted her dead friend's clothes, used her gift wrap, not her perfume. She cried with him, hooked, cajoled, comforted him, and climbed into her dead friend's bed alongside him before 5 suns dipped the sky bloody crimson. And this one's mine. A metallic rasp draws my gaze upward. A pied crow lurches in the pine's boughs, its beady eyes glittering, small chips of onyx set among plush feathers. All details are sharp where I stand among the granite headstones. The markers are polished to a high sheen, and I can't help but wonder who rests here, beyond caring. Some sort of barrier is pierced, and a sense of vertigo makes me stumble. What must it be to just not be, to not know anymore? It's then that I realize these stones are laid not for the dead, but for the living.